about it, I'm dating myself, for 30 years or more I've known about it. But now Western medicine is finally catching up with researching it and proving it, and there are some wonderful studies. And this is how much I'm a believer in it. I found out that our research team was doing a project on chemo brain, and they needed controls, you know, the people that aren't on chemo. And I'm like, get me in there. I'm just so excited to see this research come out, because I mean, I heard your tears, you know, it's just such a huge thing. It affects your life, it impacts you in every way. But in medicine, we're still not really dealing with it now until some of this rehab. But it is an absolute deal, and I'm just so overjoyed to see the research coming, because once we get research and we prove it, then there's going to be more activity around it, and maybe, I don't know, solutions.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
One final question.
Oh, Terry's in the back.
A very simple question. Quite often, when you tell family or friends that you have cancer, they'll ask a question like, what can I do for you? Mm-hmm. And I pretty much haven't figured out what I can say that's realistic. You know, like I don't know. Do you have any suggestions, any thoughts about what other people have come up with?
All right, and I think you'll find the people that'll say it, and they're saying it, but they don't mean it. Okay, that's one thing. And you'll have the people that really, really powerfully want to do something. And I think, you know, a lot of survivors will say, we're really okay. I mean, like, I really don't need anything. And, you know, right now, our family's okay, you know, and I'll say, okay, then is there something in the community that's related to your diagnosis? That if they want to give back, one of my patients, she said, go give blood. When I had surgery, I needed units of blood, and it doesn't matter if it's donated for me. If you truly want to give back, this is something that you can give, because I think it's sincere. I think that's the power of a cancer diagnosis, is that the outreach of people that come forward and really honestly, bless their hearts, want to help and want to do something for you, though that's genuine, you know, a lot of times. So I always tell, if your diagnosis has, you know, we have a lung cancer walk in September, and I tell the patients, if you can't do it and somebody wants to give back, tell them, please go walk for me. Please walk for other family members. Please give back in that way. Simple things. If you're currently going through treatment and you're exhausted and you really honestly have a hard time saying, I need help, you know, I need help. I mean, I'd be telling you, come do my laundry, walk my dog, you know, there's a whole bunch of stuff, deal with my children, is really honestly saying, by me allowing somebody to help me, helps them be fulfilled. It's that that prophecy of back and forth kind of thing about giving and getting. I deal a lot with it with parents that say, oh, you know, my kids are busy, their lives are busy, and how can I possibly ask them to drive me or do these things? And I said, you paid it forward. Hey, you did these things for them, and now they want to give back. So sometimes it's simple. Sometimes it's simple things. Let them go wash your car. Let them shovel your driveway. Bonus. You know, does it really hurt you? No, you want to do it because you're like, I can do it. I'm fine. But if they're like, you know, I really want to shovel your walk, knock yourself out. You know, hey, big snow's coming. 10 inches. Come on over. I think it's some of that kind of back and forth, if that helps you at all. And sometimes you don't really honestly need their help, but it's a way for them to feel like they want to be part of you. They want to give back in some way, shape, or form. So there's a couple different ways of doing that. Yeah.
One of the things I found when people asked me that question was, you know what, send me a note or write something on Caring Bridge. It was those details. You'd get an email or a note or a Caring Bridge blog once a week or twice a week, and you looked forward to it. It was like, hey, they're thinking about me. So there are the practical things to do, but there are the other things that are out there that you usually don't think about, but you'll find it's those little things that take 5 minutes to do that people really appreciate when they're going through a tough time. We have one more question, then we'll take a break.
Terry.
Okay. You've been a nurse for 22 years. How do you think faith has played a role? And how can churches help?
You know, I think I've grown up a lot in my faith. I think I have my own personal journeys that kind of challenged and, you know, and I know at times in my life, I know that I'm supposed to do this. And you know, people say, you have a gift, you know, and people are beautiful singers and they're God-given gift. God has said, this is what I have to do, okay? This is what I have to do. So as I've grown through that and questioned my own faith at times and challenged myself with where I'm at, it makes me reflect on myself to say, you know, there is a bigger reason. You know, there's a bigger journey. There's a bigger piece to this. And we're positioned at times in our lives for a reason. And do I think faith is important? Absolutely. But faith is individual and it's personal and it's very in your core of kind of where you're at. So how my faith is definitely something that is personal, and I try to use it by saying, God, please help me be here, be present, help this person while I'm here. But I can't project, I expect the person to be where I am. And that very strong people and very strong faith, phenomenal cancer patients and survivors have taught me a ton, okay, and helped me enrich my own life. But there are also people that I feel sad because they don't have God or religion or spirituality or those kind of things, that you do see that gap. I think the challenge is, if it's not God directed, how do I help them with their spirituality? Okay, does that make sense? That it might not be faith-based for them, but that the essence of who they are and where their core is not mine to judge. Okay, if that was the case, I'd walk on water, and that'll never happen. You know, so I think it's stepping back and saying, these are my beliefs, and I'm using my beliefs to be present and be here, but I can't project my beliefs to this moment, because I can have empathy and sympathy and all these things, but I'm not in their shoes to kind of help them. I can pray for them. And that's where, when I walk out, sometimes I am like, please, you know, have your hand on them and help them and do these things. And it's helping people where they are. And so if that makes sense, church is phenomenal, but I think people do struggle. I think people, I had one lady, she said, you know what, Michelle, you know, because I ask everybody about their faith when I'm meeting with them and spirituality. I had one lady say, I'm a little mad at God right now. Okay. You know, if you want to talk about it, if you want some resources, you know, just saying, when you're ready, and I tell patients that all the time, I'm a professional crack filler. Seriously. That when people feel like they're falling into something, I want them to remember to call me. Because I might have not all the answers, but I might have somebody in my backyard that I can connect them with. Does that make sense? So if that helps answer. I mean, I think that's a big question, and I think it's individual and it's personal and it's very intimate. And all I have to know is where the resources are to kind of help guide people in the direction.
What are the best resources for anxiety? I mean, you've got pills, you've got psychiatrists, psychologists, you've got counselors. I mean, what is the best route to take?
All of the above. No. In all fairness, I think you have to get to the core of what's causing the anxiety. Okay, really would. The best analogy, and I don't want it to over talk my time because you could give me the stage. Somebody put me on a stage is not good. I had a psychologist who was a brain tumor survivor. Her analogy was phenomenal. She said, when you have something that's distressing and you don't know what it is, take a Teflon pan, guided imagery, put whatever in there and cook it. Like, try to figure out what is getting me. Is it because I don't feel well? Is it because there's this fear of recurrence, this fear of my mortality, how much longer I have, wherever it's coming from. Process it, cook it. Can you control it? Can you not? What can you control and continue cooking it? What you can't, let it slide out. And really embrace it. So do I think and honestly I do mean that, because drugs were created for a reason. Do I think we should drug everybody? No. But sometimes in my office, do I think Ativan should flow through the vents in our space? Yeah, even for us as health professionals. So, I think your mind is connected to your spirit and your whole being. And so if you find that you're highly anxious and this is causing more anxiety, what is going to help you in this individual? Is it medications coupled with counseling? Is it medications coupled with faith? Is it medications coupled with doing the things that we never take the time to do, guided imagery, doing meditation, things that we don't take the time to do, but now you have a reason to do so. Does that make sense? So it's personal, and I'm not skirting it. I'm saying that when I meet with people, I try to say, okay, when you're spinning, what stops you from spinning? When you're anxious, what stops you from, what gets you out of it? And if it doesn't, then we pull in bigger guns to kind of help. So, and Jean Marie is going to have the floor at some shape and time, and these are the people that I pull in, because that's some of I can give you drugs, and I can talk you to a certain point as a nurse, but then I pull in my more powerful people to say, how do we help with this? So, do I think that meditation is awesome? Do I think that massage, which we don't do enough, things that just quiet you down, slow you down, stop for a minute, and breathe. And sometimes it's just as simple as taking a deep breath and breathing, saying, where is it coming from? What's fueling it? I had a bad accident, and I got crushed up against, I was on 35W, kind of going from Cedar to 35W over the overpass. Somebody came up and crashed into me and put me up against the median on a bridge. Couldn't get out the driver's side, couldn't get out the passenger side. And I'm watching all this stuff happening behind me. Still to this day, when I drive over a bridge, even if it's sunny out, I feel panic start taking over. Because it's just that fight and flight response of, oh my, this comes back. And I literally have to turn the music up and take some deep breaths to get myself over a bridge sometimes. Literally. And recognizing where it's coming from. Saying, this is from that trauma of what happened, and here's how I got to get through this moment of driving over a bridge, because it's causing anxiety for me. Am I on drugs all the time? No, not today. But, in my lifetime, I've been on and off medications, because that's life. But, it's those moments. So I don't know if I answered your question, but it's working through some of that stuff. And we can talk later, a little more one-on-one.
We're going to take a break now.